Hey guys, what's up? My name is Shelly Krewinker from Abletuts.com, your #1 free knowledge base on music production using Ableton Live. Alright, so today we're going to be defining filters. Now, filters are a very important step in sound synthesis, and they are something that you're going to be using on practically every sound of your tracks. Let's imagine we've got a sound, and the sound is made up of frequencies all over the frequency range. Now, filters basically chop away at these frequencies to get rid of unwanted frequencies. We've got 4 types of filters: low pass, high pass, band pass, and band stop, also called notch in Ableton Live. And they are very distinct in what they do, but once you understand the low pass and the high pass filters, the band pass and the band stop filters will become pretty clear. Now let's start with the low pass filter. The low pass filter is a filter that lets all of the frequencies before a certain cutoff point through, and therefore cuts out the higher frequencies. That's why a low pass can also be called a high cut. So when you filter, there's a cutoff option that lets you specify at which point in the frequency range the frequencies will be rolled off. Then there's the resonance, which lets you specify how dramatic the roll-off will be. You can have a more gradual roll-off, or you can have a small boost at the end. A practical use in this, for example, can be in bass lines, where the higher frequency range doesn't really add anything to the track and actually gets in the way of other elements, such as a guitar or a vocal. By cutting off all of the higher frequencies, you can still have the core sound of the bass without obstructing any other elements in the mix. And now the high pass filter is exactly the opposite of the low pass filter. It can also be called a low cut, since it cuts off all of the frequencies before a certain cutoff point. So at the cutoff point, the frequencies start to come through. This is also shaped by the resonance, which again specifies the roll-off of the lower frequencies. Now let's say you've got a lead vocal, for example, which needs to lie on top of the rest of the mix. Now in the low frequency range, like from 20 Hz to 300 Hz, for example, there's nothing audible there, so all the frequencies there just add up to the volume of the track and are in the way of other elements such as the kick or the bass. So having a high pass there is an absolute must, as it frees up space for other low frequency elements. Now the band pass filter is basically a low pass and a high pass, or high cut and low cut as we've learned, combined. There's a bit of the sound coming through at the specified cutoff point, and all of the higher and all of the lower frequencies are being cut off, with again the resonance specifying how abruptly. The use here is basically in creating cool pad automation or to emulate a certain radio sound. You won't use Live's autofilter's band pass all that often. Then lastly, there's the band stop, sometimes called band reject, in Ableton Live called the notch filter, which again is the opposite of a band pass filter. The band stop filter basically lets all frequencies below a certain cutoff point through, then cuts out the frequencies that are at the cutoff point, and then lets all the frequencies beyond the cutoff point through again. So there will be a gap in the frequency range. The width of this gap is controlled by the resonance. Band stop filters are pretty rare to see on your tracks, although they can provide some cool effects if you sweep it in around the spectrum here and there. And with that, we've concluded our quest into filters. You are now fit to use these mighty tools on your tracks to help shape your sounds in the mix and to take your tracks to a higher level. Please visit Abletuts.com for more tutorials, articles, and to share knowledge with one another on general music production using Ableton Live. Have a good day now and see you soon.